Hello, I hope you're doing well. This is Bunto, and this is my workout hangout on a Sunday. Um, the day after July 4th. I hope you all had a pleasant weekend. Well, what I like to talk about is how about just workout approaches? All right. Um, Many of you, okay, I'll aim this at people that are just starting fitness. Uh, Maybe not so much somebody who's already in an intermediate or advanced level, but just the beginner. Okay, so formulating my thoughts. When you start going to the gym, one of the best things to do, or at least one of the most creative things to do, is to make your own workout. Right? I mean, just like it's like going to an art studio and you start painting. Right? You're learning how to paint, so you start devising your own style, and you learn things and you're creating at the gym, right? And you're also watching other people in the studio and like learning from them and borrowing from them and building off their ideas. Okay, so there are sort of basic workouts. Like you can join a gym and like get a Kindle book and like learn how to do workouts from that, from the pros, and like learn the lingo, really the language, and also like ideas of how the traditional workout for a bodybuilder is, right? Now, the thing is, like, you have to understand, like, when you go to a gym, there's like the bodybuilding mentality there. Okay, like they want you to be a bodybuilder, but the thing is, most people at the gym are not bodybuilders. I think most of the people who go to the gym just want to get like some activity or want to lose weight, right? They're not necessarily going there to bulk up and look like a bodybuilder. So I'm saying what you had to do is you had to kind of like work around that thinking. There's a lot to learn there, right? It's a whole world into itself, bodybuilding. But when you join, unless you're going to be a bodybuilder, you have to like learn things on the way or watch a lot of YouTube or just totally go in a different direction than the bodybuilder. Because what's going to happen is there's things that bodybuilders will encourage you not to do in fitness, which is, what I'm trying to say, it's like almost natural. If you go to a gym, you'll just do it naturally. Like a bodybuilder, they only want to do short 45-minute to the point workouts. But me in the other case, they would say I'm just a notorious overtrainer because I spend like 3 hours in the gym at a time. The thing is that I do activity at the gym. I'm not like aiming at certain muscle groups. I'm just like doing a whole body activity. I just want to pass it on to you. It's like painting. It is like an art studio when you approach it. Okay. Um, let's just start talking about the workouts. Okay, let's just talk about the bodybuilder when you get there, that they want you to lift a lot of weight, really stress your muscles at one time. It's called the one max rep type of thinking workout, that you just do maybe 3 sets, 3 repetitions on a machine, right? Like 1, 2, 3, and then maybe go 70, 80, 100%, at your maximum stress, maximum weight that you can do. And then you sit there for like a minute recuperating, right? Now, when I first saw this, I'm just watching people and they're just like doing 3 things, resting for like a minute, and then or walking around or staring into a mirror, in pain, right? And then they come back and do another 3, and then they sit there for another 5 minutes. Anyway, so in my mind, they're just like doing something for like 10 to 15 to 20 seconds, if that, right? And then spending another 2 to 5 minutes just sitting around recuperating. And I just cannot accept that in my mind. It's like you have to go to the workout and sort of always be active in my mind, doing something, interesting to your muscles, because you're just sitting there wasting time, right? That's one approach to bodybuilding that they do, to the maximum weight, maximum stress on a muscle at one time, right? Well, what I do at the gym is something called circuit training. And circuit training is something that I watch, I sat there, at the gym, watching people learning the machines, your first couple of months. And then you're also studying other people that are similar body types. And then, I was very lucky at my gym is that I found somebody who was my age, just 1 year older than me, and he was my height, right? And he's like, I would say maybe 4 to 5 pounds lighter than me. So he's a really good match for my body types, right? And also, I was very lucky is that this guy's been going to the gym for like 7 years. So he knows a ton of exercises, to say the least. And then he has, method. He has a routine that he does, and he does different routines, right? So, I mean, I'm just constantly learning from watching this guy. I made friends with him, right? He's an actor, so he always has to keep his body like, in prime shape. So anyway, what he impressed on me, the first impressions I got at the gym just watching this guy was a lot of circuit training. He really showed me how to do circuit training. He would do like preacher curls, with an easy bar, right? And then he'd use the bench like right after it, right? And maybe he would like do dip bars, and then he'd go do a pull down, or maybe he'd do barbells, free weights, and then do some sort of push-ups or something. What I'm trying to impress upon you is like he wouldn't just do one exercise at a time. He would do two, back to back, or even three, right? And so this impressed on me circuit training, that he would, I've really exaggerated my part. I do like 5 or 6 circuit exercises, at a time. But what he does is, he would do 2 to 3 at a time, right? And he would do traditional exercises too. But what really impressed upon me was that he would do circuit training, and, he would do an amount of weight that really wasn't like as heavy as the power lifters were doing, but it was like significant. I would say that right now at this point, he's like twice as strong as me. I mean, he's a very strong person, and he tends to do a lot of exercises, even including some of the body weight exercises with weight, which I can't do, right? But I can do the body weight exercises, but he does them with added weight. That's what I'm trying to say. So he impressed upon me his circuit training ideas. Also, he does interval training. And what interval training is that, like maybe you're on the pull down and you do, 10 reps, 10 reps, 2 sets, counting. Now, interval training is like you look at the clock, right? And you do like a minute on the butterflies. You're doing it by time. You're not necessarily doing it by reps to failure. Okay, reps to failure means that you do so well. Sometimes you do it, but you do it to amount of exercises until you can't do them anymore. Like you do 20 sets before your arms fall off, right? There's the sets to failure, reps to failure, which is a handy exercises, but I don't tend to do that as much as I do interval training, going by the clock and doing circuits. And I discovered this works for me more so than the one max rep, or just sitting on the leg press for about 40 minutes, pressing your max, right? I discovered, I tell you, if you're a beginner, it's that if you start that approach, trying to do your maximum weight on a machine, like I hurt myself on the leg press right off the bat. And that was like a 1-month injury where I popped the rib. So that sort of heavy, stress right off the bat for a beginner, I would not advise. I'd advise just lifting light and doing circuit training and interval training. If you do go to the gym and want to do a workout. And I do enjoy the whole body workout because I sort of understand that. It's sort of like a whole body workout is where, you go to the gym and you do, enough exercises where you work every part of your body. Like a bodybuilder will go to gym and say, I'm just doing my chest and shoulders, or I'm just doing my legs, right? Well, when you're doing a whole body workout, you're just going there and you're trying to do enough activity where you work, your whole of your body pretty much. Enough exercises to where like you leave it at the gym, that you've done a lot. You warm up, let's say, with some cardio for, an amount of time, 20 to 30 minutes of cardio, and not very, what would you say, intensive cardio like a jog or anything like that, but just warm up cardio. And then you start going through the gym, working, set the muscle areas, right? Your legs, your core. I work for my legs core, I believe, and then I start working, you know, the upper body, and then I'll just pretty much start doing exercises where it's like, what would you say, interval training for the quit, you know, like how it's like strength and endurance exercises, like trying to do butterflies until for more than a minute, right, at like say 90 pounds, right? It's very taxing. And then as soon as you get, you know, wasted on that, you go to another machine to you know, it's an opposite end of your body. Let's say you do your arms on a butterfly, and then you go to the abdominal isolator, or you do ankle busters on that. You know, they have that thing where you sit on it and you can lift your legs and your ankles. But what I'm trying to say, for that type of exercises at the end, what you're doing is you're doing one muscle group, you know, interval or maybe to failure, and then you're going to another machine, which is a completely different opposite muscle group, you know, so that you can give the muscle group that you just worked on a rest. Okay, so let me see if I can focus here for a little bit. Now, of course, you know, when you're at a gym, I don't know what kind of gym that you have access to, but my gym is like, you know, the neighborhood affordable gym. So there's just really, you know, free weights and weights, some mirrors, and the TRX straps, right? Now, some of your upscale gyms, you know, they're going to have, you know, a pool, dancing area. I mean, that's just wonderful, because at our gym, it's getting really crowded. And, you know, the girls there, some girls do dance, but, you know, there's just too much equipment in the way, right? So you're lucky if you do scope out a gym. You know, I would say, like, you know, if you go to a gym and you have the choice between a gym that's just $5 more like a month, but has much more area, do that, because you're going to tend to like use a lot of area in a gym. You know, it's just like a comfortable thing, because crowded gyms are, you know, it's, I like, you like the people, but the gym is crowded, you know, I mean, crowded with equipment, you know, lying around and stuff with things, you know, and I wish the gym was a little bigger. Okay. You know, anyway, what I'm trying to think in my mind is like, you know, we see people doing all sorts of exercises, like working body weight resistance. Some of the girls are dancing, you know, some of the people are doing cardio. There's a lot of weightlifting, there's the machines, you know, and there's a lot of activity when you just go to a gym that you can just explore if you look at it like an art studio. And what's going to happen, I think, you know, if you do start, you know, you should break your week up, your days of the week up, so a certain way that you can handle a workout. You know, it's like you're beginning something. You're not like all over the place when you get it to the gym. I'll give you an example, see if I can clarify what I'm saying. It's like, in my mind, Monday, Wednesday, Friday is just my whole body workout that I've just arrived at, right? It's just a whole set of exercises that I, you know, if it was a painting, Monday's painting will look much like Wednesday's painting, and Wednesday's painting will look like Monday, and, you know, Friday will look like Wednesday. The difference is between those days is that Monday is hard, right? Wednesday is hump day, medium, and Friday is like light, you know, because you're going into the weekend. So there are 3 days there, and I only do 5 days a week, right? So then I have Sunday and Tuesday. And Sunday I like, because, you know, Sunday is not very many people there at the gym, right? And you have access to, like, in our case, the TRX strap. So that's the TRX bodyweight resistance strap, and that's a really fun exercise tool that you can use at the gym that I really enjoy. I think that's my favorite workout, is the TRX straps. And, you know, I just use that for, you use it for everything. You know, it really tones up your whole body. But when I use the TRX straps, I really think I'm working on my bottom half. You know, I'm working on the everything from the hips down, you know, glute, hammies, quads, and trying to tone that area up on Sunday, right? And that's fun. And also, there's like stretching exercises that are important to do, myofascial release, when you get to the gym. When you start working out regularly, that you can ask about. You can look on YouTube to learn how to do myofascial release and the roller. And it's good to do that once a week, so your muscles are like loose, and it just, you know, you have better workouts throughout the week when you do that. So on Sunday, you know, I get there, do my funnest workout that I like, right? The TRX straps, and then I roll out the muscles, and then I use the treadmill, because I don't really like, you know, I can go to the running track. I have, you know, a rubber track in my neighborhood. at the middle school. It's really nice. So I could run outside, right? And so at the treadmill at the gym, I just use for like, to leave it at the gym, that last cardio where you just want to like know that you're tired and that you worked out. So I use that at the gym on a Sunday. Now, okay, so I just given you, the fun workout, and then 3 workouts, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, where you're going to just, work out the whole body. And then the real ass buster workout is on Tuesday. And that's like upper half manly workout where you're like doing a lot of free weights, the bench press, the long pull. And I do that in a circuit fashion, easy curl. But the whole idea about Tuesday is that you are stressing, you're trying to build muscle. Like you are progressively trying to get the numbers up on a Tuesday as far as like your strength. Why is strength important? Because like maybe you're like ready to join a gym, but then you think, oh, come on, Bunto, now I gotta like really be breaking my ass like a bodybuilder. Well, the only thing, and let's say you're out of weight, you're overweight. The thing is that strength is the ally. When you're dieting, strength is your ally. Because when you're dieting, there's always going to be the tendency to get off your diet, because it's hard. Well, when you're gaining strength at the same time, you tend to, in my mind, that's like the ally to your dieting. It's like it makes it, not so easy to quit. You have the strength not to quit, if you can understand that. Okay. So Tuesday is, that's the type of workout where you're like really resistance training, strength training. You're really lifting the weights. Now I want to impress upon you, like, you guys, if you ever look at YouTube, there's like tons of workouts approaches that you can look at and learn. And there's this one called the P90X or whatever. And I can't do those workouts, really. I'm just, I watch those people that do those workouts and learn from them, right? I don't necessarily want to adhere to those type of workouts. Maybe like a year from now when I really, get past, when I'm in my sophomore year, then I can, start doing these advanced workouts. But what I'm trying to say is they have this idea in the P90X, and it just makes sense. And when you see it, when other people do it at the gym, it makes sense. And it's called shocking and stressing your muscles. Okay. Now, if you know that, like if you're lifting a lot of weight at a time, you could build your muscles that way, right? Let's say, I can think of some number, 200, my God, 200 on the bench press, right? And let's say you're not even close to that. Let's say, you're lifting 140 pounds or 160 pounds on the bench press, what the bodybuilder traditional worker will do is try to like, work his way up to that 200 by lifting heavier and heavier. And that's where I get into that, what I was demonstrating to you, that they just, do like 1, 2, 3 sets, and then they sit there and they rest for like 5 minutes to recover, That's a traditional workout. Well, P90X is all about angles and stressing your muscles with a lot lighter weight, where you're like trying to like, instead of the weight, in that case, like I told you previously, the weight is dominating your muscles, right? The 200 pounds is dominating your muscles. But in the shocking and stressing your muscles, you are dominating the weights, where like you're trying different angles and you're really, stimulating the muscles that you're exercising, right? And when I first saw that, and when I saw my my double at the gym do that, it just made sense. So that's the approach that I do. I like try to shock, like vigorous form. Let me see how I can explain it. Okay, when you learn an exercise for the first time, you want to learn proper form, right? So you go very slow and very mechanical on whatever machine it is, very mechanical, robotic form, slow, with a lighter weight, where you learn the proper form, where it's really clean. Like if a cop pulled you over and made you do a bench press, you would, do it with proper form, right? So then, okay, there's proper form, but you're not, when you start exercising, when you really start working out to do some gains, you're not going to be doing like proper form every rep. Okay, obviously. what's going to happen is you're going to get to a point where you're like relaxed in a way. You're using a very relaxed form. It's not very formal, but you know, it gets the job done. Okay. Now, you know what I just described to you, there's like a spectrum there. If you get too relaxed on it, you know, and somebody's looking at it, you know, people might criticize that that's just too sloppy, right? That's what I'm trying to say. So there's a spectrum there of like in your relaxed form of where you could start going into sloppiness. And, you know, sometimes people will tell you about your form and, you know, you just have to accept, you know, there's nothing to get too bent out of shape. It's just them noticing what you're doing wrong. And now when I first started going to the gym, you know, people would always give me, you know, tell me what I was doing wrong with my form. So you have to just get used to that. You know, people saying what's going on with you when you're exercising, so you can learn the proper exercises. So anyway, so first let's say you have proper form, and then you have relaxed form, and then what you can do is you can get to this point where you can start exploding on whatever exercise you're doing, and that's like, you know, you really get vigorous with it, like you really get I'm trying to look for a word, you know, vigorous, brisk, maybe violent motion. Not, you know, a better word than violent, but you know, just hard, you know, active, aggressive movements on the exercise you're doing. But what's important about that is, like to press upon you, the listener, is that, you know, to do that sort of dominating when your weights, you can't do it with like, you know, your max weight, because you'll just, you know, it'll be too hard on your muscles. You do it with like a lighter weight. But since you're like being aggressive and stressing it, you're really going to stimulate those muscles and you will get gains. I mean, I've seen it, it's working for me. You know, I like to explode on lifts as much as I can. You know, when you first get to a point, you're going to realize that, yeah, I do have to increase weight. So you really can't explode on, you know, something that you're trying to increase on. But there'll be that time when you're like, you know, I'll set it, you know, 20 pounds lighter and start exploding on it. You know, that sort of thinking. On Mondays, I'm exploding a lot of exercises, you know, just to get the vigorous start of the week. And then let's say Wednesday, I am increasing in a lot of relaxed form. And then, you know, Friday, I'm just lifting a lot lighter. Let me think some here. Take a break for a sec. Thanks for watching. Let me see. Okay, so that's the type of workout that I would encourage some of you who's first going to the gym when you first start going to the gym, I would encourage you to watch people mainly and to lift light, because you know you can get a lot done once you learn proper form, and there's a lot you can do when you can dominate the weights. Now, of course, when I went to the gym, when I first signed up to the gym, they wanted me to do a trainer, right? A personal trainer, and they gave me 2 free lessons. And, you know, I had no money to spend on a trainer. So I went ahead and took the 2 free lessons. And, you know, I learned from those things that the guy really wasn't interested in like looking at my body shape, which is kind of ectomorphic. You know, he was like a short guy, maybe, honestly, he was maybe 5'9" or 5'8", right? But he was like a fire plug, you know, he was a bodybuilder, right? And here I am 6'2", and then his approach was his approach, you know, one max rep type stuff, and just exercises that was like totally opposite of what a tall person should be doing. And, you know, I learned this from, you know, friends at the gym. You know, they tell me that those guys just don't know what the heck they're doing. Of course, they want you to buy stuff too, you know, supplements and training and stuff. So what I'm trying to say is, like, when you first go to a gym and they do offer you trainer and they want you to get encouraged, you know, please go ahead and belay that. You know, tell them, oh yeah, I'll think about it, I'll check it out, you know, as much as possible. Don't get suckered into signing up for a trainer, because they're just, you know, you're paying somebody to nag you. And then I was there for about 2 months before I know what direction I wanted to go in. So, you know, I'm just, if you want to be cost effective at the gym. Also, what I've heard too at the gym is that, you know, when I signed on to the gym, I went ahead and did the 3-year program, right? But you can really, you know, break their balls at the gym by just insisting that you want to go month on month, you know, and tell them to their face, take it or leave it. The reason I went 3 years is because they give you a cheaper rate, you know. But if that's what your idea is, I'll tell you what's good about going month to month on the gym, right? Because on our gym, I'm locked in for 3 years, right? And I wish, man, I wish I could go to a dance studio. You know what I mean? I wish I could do yoga. It's just like, well, now I'm locked into the gym, so now I got to do that commitment there. But if you went month to month, and you got to a point where, well, okay, I'm ready to do something else, besides weight training, that you had the opportunity, you can just go do something else. That's the only thing I bring it up to you. If you're joining a gym for the first time, if you can, sneakily enough, get month to month at a good rate, go for it. I mean, that's success. All right. There are things that if you have to like read the books and watch the videos to know what's possible at the gym, right? Like, it is possible to lose a lot of weight, in like within the year or 6 months, right? That is possible to definitely lose weight. But the inverse, where somebody says, well, I'm going to put on 40 pounds of muscle, and that's just, and there's people there that do the trainers tell them that is just a will o' wisp? I don't know. I don't ask, I just keep my mouth shut and watch. But there's people there that think that they're, going to show up there and, 6 months later be ripped. That doesn't happen. There's so many things that go into building muscle that it's not easy. Yes, of course, you guys know you can take steroids and, artificially increase your mass that way, but to do it naturally, you have to, protein intake, proper exercise, aim at muscle groups, supplementation. So I'm trying to say is, like, if you're trying to bulk up, just know if you're doing it naturally, it's going to take a while. But if you're trying to lose weight, hey, you've come to the right place, a gym, to slim down. And the social atmosphere, people are going to tell you, hey, you look good, hey, you're doing the right thing, going to the gym, so forth. So I wouldn't be hesitant. Okay, what I'm trying to say is, like, if the needle has finally hit zero in your life and you said, hey man, I just got to lose weight, I've got to change my life, go ahead and sign up to the gym, because it is, a definite way of changing your life. Some people like joining with their friends, having their friends come along with them. I just did it by myself because I'm, pretty much a loner, and it's worked out for me really well. In fact, I made friends, going to the gym. So, just go down there. And to me, it's like so much more utility than just staying at home and there are things you can do at home to work out, but a gym, they got all the equipment down there and all the know-how, and it's fun, TV sets and stuff. Let's talk about dieting. When you start dieting, there's like a lot to learn as far as how food works in the body. You've heard of carbohydrates mainly, and fats and proteins. Now, the low carb diet, right? It's true if you don't eat any carbs, that your body will start using fats. But carbs are like the natural energy source of a body. Carbs, everything you eat, practically has carbs in it. So if you're going to start dieting, like, the easiest way, I think, is just there's two things that you have control over: activity and intake, right? So you find a Mediterranean diet or something like that, that's fine. It's fun to try, see if it works. Paleo diet, right? If you can manage your macros type diet, intermittent fasting. I mean, there's all sorts of interesting things when you start looking at it, when you get into dieting. And also, when you talk at the gym, you can also talk to other people and what they're doing. And but what I'm trying to say is, like, dieting in a way isn't very complicated. If you are at a caloric deficit, you're going to lose weight. Just, that's the way it is, right? The two things that you can control are, your intake and your activity, right? If you increase your activity past your intake, you'll be at a caloric deficit and you'll start losing weight. So, you want to start losing weight, just start walking, start some activity. You don't have to, like, do something that's very intensive and athletic, just increase your activity, walking. That's how I started. And, you'll start losing weight, and that will allow you to, start examining other avenues of activity. Hopefully, the better ones are to increase your strength, because when you start increasing your strength, it'll be easier to diet. It'll be more conducive to your goals of losing weight. Now, let me see how I can say this. It's like, let me formulate this on the fly. Just philosophy. When you join a gym and you just sit there and watch people, watch the genders, right? You watch the male and you watch the female and you watch all sorts of body types, and then you compare them to your own. I think you're going to have some personal revelations. It's like maybe things that you've never thought before. Okay. Now, when I first started at the gym, I think at that point I was like 235, 238, right? And I was joined the gym like 2 months into my starting to slim down, right? And I was coming off 250 pounds, right? And, I didn't buy a scale. And, I was like, at that point of like, oh man, I didn't want to face the music, but I had enough balls, right, to go join the gym. And so at this point right now, I weighed myself today, I was like 194, right, on the dot. And so I've lost like, over 50 pounds. But what I'm trying to say is like, you're sitting at the gym, right, watching people, learning the exercises, learning the machines. And then you start realizing, once you see people that have worked out for a long time, that maybe the body that you're at right now wasn't what you were supposed to be at. And let me explain that. It's like, I was like, way over 200 pounds, almost, halfway to 300 pounds, right? And then I'm watching people who are like, I'm watching females, right? There's many females at the gym who I know are stronger than me, right? So it's like the realization that, hey, I wasn't meant to be this, over 200-pound guy. So there's no use to being, a hulking guy if you're not that strong. And also the guys, guys my size were twice as strong as me, right? So the only thing, it's like what I really wanted to control at that point was body fat. It's like, well, the strength is like far off, right? So why don't I just really start controlling body fat? So, started eating a lot cleaner, got my activity going, set, and that starts shedding the pounds, right? But what I'm trying to say is that, you get to the gym and you watch things and you kind of make it your own, your own ideas. You start doing your own exercises, your own approaches, your own philosophy, and your own ideas. So that's like a really fun thing and a plus thing that you should, examine if you do go to the gym. Um, it's like what I'm trying to say is that, have an open mind when you go there to watch other people, and then, it will dawn upon you where you want to go, with your workout, with your body shape, where you want to go. Let me see. Okay, we talked about dieting. It's like, for me, it's like, I just advise you, if you want to study it, study a little bit at a time. It's all interesting. I don't think, there's any one magical diet you can find, but you can mix them all together or just arrive at your own way of eating. Some people want you to eat 6 meals a day, which is impossible. People can only, like me, I only eat like 1.5 times a day. Of course, every the gym tells me that's terrible, but it's like what I can do. It's like, I have the discipline to work the exercises, but now even with my eating, I'm going to have to learn the discipline of eating enough protein, to maintain my muscle mass, at least, right? Of course, I'm gaining muscle mass, but what I'm trying to tell you is like, there's like a discipline there, even for dieting, when you approach it. In my case, I'm an ectomorph. The most important thing in my case is protein intake. So, in your case, I don't know what body shape, but there's, things that you can look at, to study. It's you know a whole world, a whole continent there to explore dieting. Okay, well, let's talk supplements, right? Okay, like the supplements that I use that I found that have worked is, of course, creatine. You can see it on the screen, right? Creatine is an interesting supplement. What's it supposed to do, right? Really? Okay, apparently, like your muscles have like a level of energy in them, and they can take more if you take this supplement, right? And it comes in the form of like water. Water gets soaked into your muscles with this thing called ATP, and it gives you, you know, burst energy really, and also endurance energy, and also it gives you a cosmetic features that get rounds out your body. Like when you start taking this stuff, you'll start, you know, in your muscles will get bigger and rounder looking, right? They won't like they have this thing called flattening out your muscles. You know, if you like starve yourself and you start, you know, going into uh, catabolic state. Anyway, you'll notice it. It's like if you know, exercise a lot, you'll notice when if you don't eat right or if you're not getting enough protein, your muscles will start flattening out. Well, you take this stuff and you start eating right, right? Your muscles will start rounding out. But you know, what's the use of it, right? Well, what I've noticed is that when you get to the gym and you start like really stressing yourself and start, you know, lifting, there's this thing called getting the bar up, right? Like when you first start lifting something, that first initial getting it up off the ground, you know, that's creatine right there. That will help you. That first initial getting something started, you know, like you want to do a leg curl of over 100 pounds, right? You know, the first movement. I do like tremors, like I do little tremors, then I start something. Creatine, that makes it easier. You know, you can start little fluctuations and bang, you know, banging out. It makes it easier. The first initial, uh, stress that you're going to do on a muscle's creatine. And okay, another supplement that I started using, and I bought a whole bunch, is that Alcar, um, acetyl L-carnitine. And I think you might, you know, try. Yeah, I got the advice because we have lady bodybuilders at the gym, and they use this stuff religiously because it helps them, you know, keep the lean muscle and you know, retain their muscle shape, you know, year round or whatever. So in my case, it's like I'm, you know, middle aged, right? So I need to use this stuff to, you know, just keep the muscle, retain the muscle uh, mass and density. Alcar, acetyl L-carnitine, and it's not very pricey. And you know, if you get the benefits from it, like they state, I haven't really taken it religiously to, you know, to say, hey, this stuff, you know, always helps me. But I know for a fact creatine works. So they have that Alcar. And then another one they use is interesting. It's called alpha lipoic acid, ALA. Now this is pricier stuff, and but what it's supposed to be is like a sugar, like a glycogen glucose manager. It's sort of like an insulin mimicker, right? So you know it handles the amount of sugar that, you know, gets ingested by the cell. As far as um, you know, sugar can be turned into fat. Well, you take this stuff, it, you know, works it out straight to the muscles. That's what I, you know, to my understanding, how ALA works. The only thing is that, you know, God, that's great. So I take gobs of this stuff. Well, I think you can only take little bits at a time, like 200 milligrams or something, because it also, it like, you know, it's not like insulin or something. Insulin works with your B, you know, your B complex, biotin and so forth, vitamin B, B12 and all that stuff. Well, this stuff just, you know, messes all that stuff. They have to put biotin in with it, ALA. So what I'm trying to say is that, you know, if you do the stuff, you're just, you know, buying a little bottle of it. You're not like creatine, you can take like 5 grams a day or something. And then, you know, I'm sure you could take like 2 grams a day of Alcar, but this stuff you only could take like 200 milligrams a day. But it's supposed to be, you know, pretty handy. People are talking about it. Um, you know, and then the other supplements I use are like the glucosamine for the joints, which I find works. You know, I do feel less sore in my joints, you know, when I use that glucosamine, and that's affordable, cheap supplement. Um, let me see. Oh, hold on a second. Let me see here. Let me see. Let me see here. I'll give you guys a break because I've just been talking. I'm like talking here in the side chat. Okay, what was it? Okay, we're talking supplements, and I was talking a little bit about glucosamine. Okay, yes, okay, affordable supplement, helps with the joints. The only kind of drawback, the thing with supplements is that you guys would be surprised on like how much that you need to take for the thing to work, right? Like glucosamine is one of those where you have to take like 6 pills a day, for the stuff to be work. What I do is I just take like pretty much a maintenance dose of this thing, like 2 pills a day, because they are horse pills, they're big pills. But then, on a certain day of the week, I'll just take 6. You know what I mean? What I'm trying to say is like the class, the supplement, they want you to take a lot of pills a day, but it's just, I don't think you could take more than, I don't know, 10 pills a day of any, combination of supplements. That's just a lot of pills to take. Some supplements are powders, right? So you can just mix it in with a shake or just, put it in a shot glass with some juice and shoot it down. Those are attractive because they're cost effective, right? But other supplements that, put in the capsules that you have to take. So it's up to you, like I think at most I take like maybe 6 to 8 capsules maybe a day, maybe like a 6 to 8, maybe an 8's a max, maybe a 6 regular. They also have stuff like BCAAs, but the thing is, you guys should know this. I hope that you can get a lot of supplements just if you buy whey powder. Like they have many protein powders, whey powder, and the thing is like some of the companies, they mix in the supplements into the powder, which is interesting. So you can save money that way if you just get a good protein powder like that Dynamix or whatever it's called. That's a very quality powder, and people like, they put a lot of good stuff in there. I just, in this point, I just do the cheapest, purest powder. I use that Jarrow's whey, and that comes with BCAA, supplementation in it. So you might look into that, that there are some, good quality powders that you can get with good supplements built into them. And another supplement that I wonder if all of you know is like omega-3, the fish oils. Okay, what's important about that is that there's certain fats that you need to get, that you have to get from source. Okay, how can I say this? All right, just so let me explain it to your understanding. It's that our diet now, in the modern, is very not as expansive as it used to be. Like in the hunter-gatherers, like 200,000 years ago, those humans ate a wider variety of food types and sources than we have. We have just like, a very limited scan, like wheat, soy, I don't know, we don't have as much variety, and they ate like a lot of fish or a lot of lentils and stuff that are excuse me, flax, that had these omega-3 fatty acids in them, right? Now, what's important about omega-3 is that we have omega-6, right, in our diets. The thing is that's inflammatory and it weakens the cell walls. And so you need to get these omega-3 fish oils supplementation so you can, have the strongest cell walls that you can manage. It's what do you call it? Cancer prevention, a cancer prophylactic supplement that anybody should, even if you're not even, looking into health and stuff, you should look into fish oils. Hey, what's going on, Steven?
Hey, not much, not much. So, what's your hangout about?
Oh, I was talking, of course, it's a workout. I was just talking about supplementation. I was talking about fish oil.
Yeah, they're good for arthritis. I know that much. It works
right?
for the dog.
Omega-3. Okay,
Sorry?
what do you know about omega-3?
It's supposed to help brain improvement, but scientific studies have kind of suggested that they don't really do anything.
Oh my God. Well, I would just tell everybody to take it because if you have a lot of omega-6 and it weakens your cell walls, and omega-3 is supposed to strengthen them. You know, that's
You
why
see,
they
this is the
put.
thing, though. They say eggs are bad for you. Then they say they're good for you. Then they say drinking red wine is bad for you. Then they say it's good for you. So I mean, really, sorry, I got an itchy ear. Yeah. So really, I would just take it with a grain of salt. You know, if you want to have it, and if it helps you, and you do notice an improvement, then obviously use it. So
Okay,
there's no
well,
reason.
I use the gummies of the fish oils, and I usually take that when, like, I want like a little perk up, a
Yeah.
little carb spike. I'll take a little gummy, like perk me up just a little bit. So that's why I eat them all the time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I haven't needed fish oil, but I just know that if you get arthritis, it's like one of the only remedies I know that really does actually help. Like a lot of people with arthritis try many different things, doesn't do anything for them, and then they said they've used the fish oil, and that actually has helped with their
All right.
pains.
Well, okay. How about this potassium? You want to give that one, or do you want me to? You can do potassium.
Uh, Potassium's all right. It's found all through your bloodstream and that, so
Okay, you
even if you
get
get
totally sore or a strain or a cramp, you got to
yeah.
take potassium.
Yeah, yeah, no, but that's good. Yeah, potassium would work fine for that.
Because that's what happened to me. It's like I started getting calf strains, and then when I went at the gym, they tell me, get the potassium supplementation. And there's all sorts of potassium you could buy, of course, but the ones that they advise you the best is the chelated potassium, and you can get, complexes of potassium. You know, they mix it with calcium and magnesium, so forth.
Hmm.
Oh, excuse me. Is it magnesium? Okay, which is the one for cramps? Magnesium or
Oh,
potassium?
I use magnesium sulfate. I think it's called magnesium.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, it's magnesium one, but they sell it at the chemist. Yeah,
Did you have bad cramps?
yeah, I did when I first started training. I used to get really bad cramps. I don't know about yourself, but it was just like agony for like
Right.
days.
And so I
don't get it as bad nowadays. Nowadays, it's just kind of niggly and annoying, but
right.
I can, they're not that bad. So
I don't take the thing every day though. I just take it like on Sunday, once a week, a good supplementation.
yeah, that's. I mean, if that's all you need to take, then yeah. So long as it keeps your cramps down, because that's what's going to sort of impede your day. You try to go to the shops or something and go, or go to work or something like that. Don't want to be cramping up at work. So
All right. Well,
yeah.
what do you know about BCAAs?
Not a lot, actually. Not a lot.
Branched chain amino acids.
Yeah, I've heard some people say that they work. I don't really know. I haven't read many studies on them, so
Okay, the
I
way
think
it's
they sound a little gimmicky. If yeah, they
okay,
might
but
work.
I'll tell you how it works. Okay, when you eat a steak, it's protein, right? Well,
Mm,
what it gets broken down to is branched chain amino acids that your cells work on, right?
mm.
Apparently they can synthesize some of these branched chains of amino acids, so you don't have to eat protein. So you can just take the pill, and it has the same effect as what's it called, rejuvenating your muscles, building them back.
Hmm. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't work. I mean, if it's technically scientifically, it's like working like maths. If mathematically it works on paper, then it should work. So,
And what I've
um,
noticed is that I can buy like whey protein, and they have the BCAAs built in, right? There's all sorts of
yeah.
protein powders you can buy with the stuff built in, so you can save money that way.
Mm. A lot of serious mass gainers actually have all that stuff in there. Like, I know Vegan Gains isn't like a big fan of all the supplementation, and I probably take more than I need. But yeah, like
Okay, how
yeah.
legit do you think that individual is,
Oh,
diet
geez, I don't know,
wise?
man. Okay, because I watched his latest video, and in his latest video, he says steroids are okay in vegan world. Steroids, the things that give you cancers, um, you know, or he's completely against anything that could possibly give you cancer
And then he's in
or
for
heart disease or anything. And then he just goes and tells people to take the one thing that would ultimately cause all those issues. Like, yeah, so he's against the supplement industry, but he's against but he's for steroids. It's like, which is it, man? Like, yeah, not.
All right. Well, how about this? I'll let you vamp on this, but okay. No morality. Yeah. What is the idea behind vegetarianism? But don't give me a moral story. Just tell me what is the nutritional idea behind vegetarianism.
Oh, it's to my knowledge, because I was speaking with some vegans yesterday at work, because I was looking, like, they had a booth and I was looking after the booth, yeah, they kind of were saying that it's all about what you need and what you actually need in your. They're convinced you need 80% carbs, 10% fats, and 10% proteins in your daily living. And I thought, well, that doesn't sound that wrong. Like, carbs are for energy. So, I mean, if you're using that much energy, but depends what your lifestyle is. I mean, they didn't look unhealthy or anything. Like, you wouldn't look at them and think, oh, they look malnourished or weak or anything. You just think, oh, well, you know, they're
like at the nominal human shit. Okay, Stephen, have you seen these videos online where people are averse to protein? They like even go so far as say protein is a myth. I've seen some.
No,
of those
I have not seen that, but it's not a myth. I mean, it's found in pretty much every food. I mean,
okay, just explain that to people. Like, okay, the spectrum of no protein to too much protein. How about that? Explain that.
Okay, too much protein will probably make you tired because it takes a long time to digest protein.
And it's hard on your organ.
Yeah, it's not good to be taking it in excess. Like, you would definitely hurt yourself. I know a lot of people, protein's a very large molecule, and your kidneys have to filtrate your blood. So if you have a lot of protein in your blood all the time, your kidneys are going to take an absolute pounding. And I mean, they basically work through pressures. Pressures, and it's almost like going through fly wire, pushing objects through fly wire. The bigger objects can't go through. I mean, that's essentially how it works.
It's like a mesh.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And that's what your blood gets filtrated through. And then all the larger molecules get pushed out and back into the bloodstream. So, you know, it's like your proteins. So you're not pardon my language. So you're not peeing out all your proteins. And you're getting rid of all the urea and all that type of stuff in your
okay.
In your body.
Okay, so that's too much protein. How about all the way to somebody who's like protein
not enough?
deficient?
I'd imagine actually that would be quite difficult thing to do because, like I said, to my knowledge, just about every piece of food, even if it's a tiny, tiny amount of protein, every piece of food has got protein in it. So that would mean that the person's just not eating enough, period. So
how about this? The person is eating like a nominal amount of protein and it increases their activity to where their muscles just don't get enough amino acids to build
so you mean they're working out so much that they're not getting enough protein?
Right.
Okay. I think what generally happens is actually that can actually be detrimental. To my knowledge,
well, your muscles flatten out. You know, your muscles get flat.
Yeah, I think so. I think I've heard that you can get muscle wastage by working out so much but not eating enough. Like, you can still get muscle wastage doing that. I'm not sure though. I've not seen it.
Like slaves on a slave ship. They waste away. Okay. So, and protein is important. You know, in my case, I feel it's like, you know, that's all I have to concentrate on is protein intake because it's always wrapped with carbs and fat. Yeah, you can't really prevent that. That's the unfortunate thing, you know. That's always why the balance when working out is always, you know, you can never really win. You either have to. That's why people go on these fasting diets after doing, say, months and months and months of training, and they have to eat all these carbs and proteins and that, and then they will fast for a bit. And the reason why is because they want to try and get rid of that excess body fat they've picked up over time. So, yeah. Okay, so would you say that now that you started working out, like, how's your eating discipline? Are you like focusing on eating more protein?
Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty regimented with that myself. I don't know about yourself, but
Oh yeah, I mean
because
that's
yeah, I have to be. I work out when I go to the gym. I'm training an hour to an hour and a half every time. So, you know, it doesn't sound like much, but for, you know, when you think about it, you know, that's on a specific muscle group, an hour to an hour and a half. I mean, does any of us even do that in the workplace or anything like that? No, I don't
no.
get enough exercise, so I have to. So,
Well, this is what I
but
meant by eating discipline.
yeah.
It's like I have to buy a carton of eggs every week and eat it. You know, I've never done
Mm.
that before in my life. It's like I have to ingest that protein. You know, I have to do whey powder, you know, days on end. At least once a day, you know, one time a day, I have to do whey powder to get the protein in. That's what
That's
I meant by
fine.
eating discipline, you know?
Mm. So, just curious, what's happening with the rest of the all the debate communities? What's sort of going on there, or nothing really?
As far as like, they, you know, mostly tell me to shut the fuck up and, you know, quit talking about fitness. Um, right? And there's just
But
not
I mean,
very
other
many.
things
Some
kind of
people have
boring.
talked to me one on one about fitness, but there's not, you know, in the whole, they're not so much interested in, you know,
Oh, I just asked because it's like, just like it seems to be like, you know, the atheist community seemed they were in full gear for a little while, and they sort of died off a bit. And yeah, I just thought, why is it just a sudden spark? And like to me, I just get bored of that. It's always the same arguments. It's like, well, you've heard it all before. What's the point in hearing it again? Like, you know, yeah. Like unless
no,
someone's come up
well,
with
I
something.
mean, like, are you okay? You've done your fitness videos, your workout videos. What are the comments on those?
Not a lot actually. I think once all those sort of trolls realized that, oh, dropped out. Hang on. Yeah. Okay. Well, while we wait for Bunto to come back, I don't
No, I'm
know.
back. Go ahead.
Oh,
I
okay.
just turned
Yeah.
screen sharing off.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, why? Basically, once people sort of work out that I'm not really doing anything more than anybody else, I think they're kind of like, oh, okay, yeah. They stop sort of trolling a bit on that. Like I keep acting like, you know, like I'm talking myself up like I'm Superman. I'm like saying, no, I'm not Superman. I'm just doing what other, like this is the weights that I'm lifting. These are the exercise routines I'm sort of doing. And once people sort of see that that's sort of like pretty standard stuff, they kind of go, oh, okay.
Right.
So
But I mean, have there
yeah.
been comments, or did you turn the comments off?
Oh, I turned him off for a while because I kept getting this one guy that kept being a dickhead to me.
Right.
But he's sort of gone away now, so it's sort of like, oh, okay. But that wasn't why I turned the comments back on. Um, no, I just did it. I can't remember the reason, but I turned it back on because I just stopped getting these negative comments. And it was just like, I'm not against people being negative. If they want to be negative, fine, whatever. But I just get annoyed with it when it's always so personal and so vicious. It's sort of like, what is wrong with you people? Like, don't you calm the fuck down like every now and then? You don't know me. You don't know anything about me, yet you're viciously, slanderously attacking me like I'm the fucking devil. And I haven't done anything to you. I don't know you. You don't even know the story about what was going on with all of that. And then
Is
they'll
it
just
even
keep,
worse than the theist attacking you?
oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, these are personal attacks, almost wishing my head on a plate kind of thing. Like, it's so vicious. Like, you have to have a really sick and twisted mind to come up with some of the stuff they do.
Okay, you made the Cali muscle video. What were the comments on that?
Not much. I can't remember if there isn't any at all.
You
I
don't
didn't
like
actually
Cali
realize.
muscle, or do you like him?
No, I like Kelly Muscle. I just think it's kind of funny to do that. He claims to be a fitness person, but he doesn't actually really do much towards fitness. Like you don't see him saying, "This is what you should eat," or "This is how you should train. This is how I train if you want to be like me," or "This is the kind of lifestyle you need to live to." Like you need to train. So I imagine someone like Carly Muscle, like he's going to go to the gym in the morning, then he's going to eat throughout the day and then go to the gym in the afternoon or something. Like he doesn't say, but he doesn't say that. He doesn't say how much weight he lifts or how he's, he goes on about his life, but he doesn't like trolls, that's for sure. But
I'll tell you, there's one takeaway that I got that was really interesting from Cali Muscle and watching his workouts with the Hodge twins is that he does relaxed form, but only like half lifts, but he does it really quick.
Back so far. I mean, I've always wondered, like, maybe he is going like full exercise, but because his muscles are so big, they won't let him move past a certain point. Possibly.
But it's like a little, a little guy. What would you say? Just like a little half reps, half sets.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah. I was watching him do some training last night. Got up in the middle of the night. I was like, oh, well, I'm awake. I'm out to watch some videos. And then I saw that he'd done some training with CT Fletcher, and I was like, oh, okay, well, let's see how do they train. And they had some interesting ones, like they were doing like some dumbbell curls with the reverse dumbbell curls on the floor, like laying down for the triceps. And the way they were doing it actually looked like it'd probably work all right. So I thought, oh, well, it's an exercise to try out. But yeah, I mean, the weights that he was lifting, I thought, well, for such a big guy, you don't lift very heavy weights. And someone was saying to me, oh, it's...
Well, he believes in muscle tension. Keeping your muscles under tension. He doesn't really believe in, like, power weights, to my understanding. But last week, I just started watching a lot of Lee Priest videos, and I was watching his form.
He's got big arms, that guy.
He has like such perfect form. Have you noticed that? And he's just very intense.
I haven't actually seen many of his videos. All I know is he used to be a pro bodybuilder, but he used to stir up the judges a lot, so they didn't like him. Like, I don't know what he did, but apparently in his day he used to be just like, they used to just not like his attitude, so they'd never rank him as he was deserved, kind of thing. So, does attitude matter when it comes to like those big, say, Mr. Olympia and that?
But just watching,
he had such a problem about politics. Yeah, I heard it's more about politics there than it is about anything else. Because I mean, like if you see Kai Green, like from last year, and Phil Heath from last year, you would swear that Kai Green deserved to win the Olympia. Back then, you'd like look at him and he looks way more cut, way more defined. His muscles look stronger and more worked on and that type of thing. And you're thinking, that guy has clearly earned this Mr. Olympia title, and you've given it to the guy who has to suck in his breath to hold his stomach in place, kind of thing. Like, yeah, just don't know about that. Especially, yeah.
So, whose workout do you like?
Who would I go like train?
Well, who do you watch on YouTube all the time?
I actually like Rich Piana's training. Believe it or not.
What do you like about him?
I like his honesty. I like that he's just relaxed. I like that he has a good demeanor.
I mean, does he lift heavy or what?
He does lift heavy. Yeah, he lifts very heavy. And I like that I like the fact that he's trying to help people. He's always trying to help people, and that to me is a good thing. Like, I don't care if he's like taking steroids or anything. I mean, he admits that, and I just personally think, you know what? At least he's honest about it. We knew. And it's not like it's a surprise. So, at least he was honest and said what he did and why he did it. And if people want to be like him, they know how to do it. So, yeah.
I mean, but what part of his workout do you like? Does he work on his upper half that you like, or what?
Well, it's just how he does it. Like he doesn't like, I think it's just because he just goes in and lifts heavy. Like I like lifting heavy. So, he doesn't like do like lots of reps on an exercise, but when he goes in and trains, he'll train 100% every time. So like he's not
okay. When you do like a lot of reps or just a few reps?
If I'm trying to, because we're doing some change up on some of our routines, because we've been doing them for the last 6 months. Some of them we're dropping the weight. So because we're dropping the weight, going for perfect form, because I still want to get like the muscle to be worked out, I go for a lot more reps, yeah, on some of them. Just because you don't want to do a lighter weight and then not exercise that muscle, muscle enough, at least in my opinion. Like you're not there to coast or warm up the muscles. You're there to make them grow. So
you do like one muscle group twice a week, or because I do like whole body.
Just once a week. Just once a week. I
just
don't
once
have time.
a week.
Yeah, I don't have time for twice a week. It'll get too much. Like my friend, he works a normal job. He doesn't get off work until quite late. So it's sort of like, you know, I go down and train with him. So, you know, it's just I used to work a different job, and he used to have to work around my schedule, and it was just sort of like, it was just how we have to do it, you know, like everyone's got lives. I mean, you probably understand, you've got your own life to live, and training's one thing, but you still got money to make, and you still got a job to live and a life to lead. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, what's your, like, that you always do machine that you always do? Like what, bench press or what?
If it's back, it would be lat pull down. I think it's just a good bar to sort of set the tone. If it's chest, bench press, I think I think most guys will say that.
I mean, you do it like religiously every time you go to the gym, or just.
Oh yeah. Not. I don't do this every time I go there. I do that particular. No, it's just once a week. But if it's like a particular muscle group, I'll make sure that we do that specific. Like, for example, triceps. Always do skull crushers, because skull crushers are free weights. They're heavy. Yeah. So what else?
How much do you do?
Oh, skull crushers. I was getting up around 40 kilos.
So 80 pounds.
But my friend was saying my form is shit, so I'm sort of dropping the weight a bit to get my form right. So,
where do you grip the bar? Use easy curl or what?
He says what I'm not doing is I'm not lifting my arms up high enough. Like they're sort of like a bit down there, like instead of being up here. But
so you're using the easy bar?
They're just those. Nah, it's just a free straight bar thing. You know.
Oh wow. Okay, because I always use the easy bar.
I suppose it would help for form.
Because I grip the bar like in the middle, because you know there's two ways you could grip it. If you grip it on the outside, you're working your triceps, and if you work on the insides, you're working your biceps.
Yeah. Yeah. So how is your training going anyway? How's the weight loss and the toning up going?
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing that I've definitely nailed down is like body fat control. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wean myself all the way down to October, and then I'm going to start bulking October, November, December.
Okay.
And then 2016, I'm going to really try cutting.
Okay. Because I sort of wanted to cruise around between 7, or, you know, like have my weight up around 70 to 75, like anywhere between there. I'm happy. Like that's my goal range. I'm thinking, I think that's about 154 to around about 170 pounds, something like that. So,
how much you weigh now?
70 kilos. So
that would be 150?
So yeah, 154 is what I'm at now. But I'm happy to just sort of cruise between that and 75. But I would, if I want to like tone up, I'll probably go back as far as 70. But hopefully be in good shape at 70, you know, like a nice flat belly, hopefully have a six-pack, but I don't think that'll happen. And, you know, that type of thing. So, yeah.
Okay,
so I can carry 70 kilos quite comfortably and be quite fit, or I can be fit at 70. Little bit slower than normal, but like I used to be a lot quicker, but I think that's just age more than anything. Like physically, like exercise, like, you know, reflexes and that type of thing. Not quite as quick as I used to be.
Do they have the body fat calipers at your gym and you measure your body fat?
Nah, they don't. They got expensive scales. That's about all they got. So, and I don't really trust the scales because they give, because the scales at home give different readings to the scales at the gym. So it's sort of like the scales at the gym are more expensive. So you could assume that they're more accurate, but at the same time, they're scales. They're not like, again, it's no one's actually doing any measurements or, yeah. I mean, see, I don't understand with this, like with the training thing, like why people have this expectation. Like you'll notice do you notice the comments on YouTube? Like if you were to make a comment about your training, and you said how big you were and what you were aiming for, and that people would be like, they'd probably try to put you down for it. And it's sort of like, oh, you're not big enough, or you're not strong enough, or you're not fit enough, or you don't have like you got a dad bod. I've heard that one, dad bod. I was like thinking, oh, because I don't have a six pack. Like 90% of the world doesn't have a six pack. So, yeah, it's pretty hard to get one. That's like all diet mostly.
Yeah, if you get rid of that layer of fat.
Yeah. And then, you know, I might have lost too much weight doing something like that. So to me, I don't want to. Plus, you got to have layer of fat. Like you got to have some sort of stored energy there. Otherwise, you get sick. What's your body going to go for when you're sick? Nothing. There's nothing there.
So what have you made the most improvement on?
So what do you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't quite.
Like, what have you made the most improvement on that you know that?
Oh, okay, yeah. No, I've definitely made muscle improvement all over. I don't know about yourself. Like legs are much stronger again and bigger. At least at the top part. Calves still are like toothpicks, but yeah, arms, they're looking pretty good. Shoulders.
Do you measure them with tape?
No, I don't. I just sort of go by mirror look. You know, if you can see that there's a bit more size there or definition, then yeah, that's how it's only because, you know, I've only got myself to sort of work all that out. So I don't even know how to work it out. Like I don't sit there, and I've never really tried.
Right.
So,
okay.
yeah.
Let me see. I think, yeah, like my one that I was on the long pole. So I guess my back muscles are pretty good.
Yeah. What's the long pole?
The long pole is that one where you sit down and you know, grab the thing, you pull back. You know, it's like, it looks like a bench, right? But you sit on it and then you put your foot on these plate and then you pull the weight back. And it really works your back, arms.
I don't know if I know that one. Is that like a seated row? Is that where you like get? Yeah. Oh, yep. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Actually, the one that we just incorporated, I don't know if you know this one, is you get the long bar and then you put some weights on it, and then you get that rope that you put for the tricep curls and the biceps or whatever you want to use it for. And you basically stand over it, and then you pull it up towards your chest.
Mm-hmm.
But that one, my friend and I, like, he was not liking it. It was being a bit of a pain in the bum where the rear of the pole kept trying to fly up out. So, you know, you'd have like, say, 50, 60 kilos and the pole's trying to flick back at you. And it's like, oh, don't do that, pole. Like, just stay where you are. So I was looking at other people, how they do their rows. And what you do is you go to the squat rack and you set the safety bars on the side. So you set them a little bit lower.
Okay.
So you can get your arms straight, and then you just basically pull it up. So you get into position and then pull it. Does that make sense? Or
so it really works your core, or what?
It's actually just your whole back, really. Because when you go back and squeeze, you're doing like the center, the lower back, and would it be even a bit of the lats, I would imagine. But I mean, anytime you're doing free weights are always going to get you more results than anything else.
That's
because
true.
Because you have to balance it. You have to do all these other things with it. So anytime you're doing free weights, you're going to get far more improvement than any other type of machine.
And let me ask if you do this. Well, I give myself limits. Like I say, I'm just going to, you know, when I hit 100 pounds, I'm going to stop there for the year, just so I could start dominating the weights, you know, because I want to be able to just have an easier time, you know, on the machines and the weights. So I just give myself a weight limit. So like this year, I'm just going to top out at 100, you know, just really dominate with circuits.
To me, I just sort of think it's just something what Louis Marco says on his videos. He says, if you're not there to coast, you're there to make gains. So if you can go up in the weights, then you should go up. But
do you ever feel like you're coasting?
Sometimes I do, yeah.
Really?
Sometimes
you feel like it's so easy.
or just sometimes on back, you know, because you sort of hit your limits, but you can't seem to get past them. And whether or not you call that coasting, it's not like there isn't an attempt to get past that weight. It's just that you're sort of not really
Okay,
making
like you're the type of person that would do like just 3 sets and then take a 5-minute rest. 3-set
Nah.
max.
I try to have like 1 to 2 minute rests in between, because you want to keep your body warm when you're exercising. If you go cold, then that's where you end up hurting yourself, because you want to keep under warm. You want to keep your muscles warm.
But you don't like to do max reps, a lot of reps?
Actually, I do, but it just depends what it's for. So lightweight, lots of reps, yes, definitely. Heavyweight, 8 reps if you want to grow. I guess if you're trying to be a powerlifter, yeah. Well, for a powerlifter, they're doing only 3 to 5. That's all they do. So if you're doing 3 to 5 on your absolute maximum, that's all powerlifters do. That's why they get so strong, because they're just doing really heavy weight, but they're not doing a lot of exercise. Like, yeah.
So how many days a week do you do?
4 days lifting, 1 day cardio.
All right. Well, how's the cardio?
Yeah, sucky at the moment. Cardio is my worst. The other day I did. I meant to do like 12 minutes on the treadmill, because we go 1 minute like jog and then 1 minute sprint, 1 minute jog. 1 minute. Yeah. And basically I got up to about 10 minutes and I was just knackered. I was just like, I can't do another minute, even though we said last week, oh yeah, we've done 10 minutes, so we have to go for one more jog and then another sprint. So 12 minutes. We have to do 12 minutes. Couldn't do it. Then I went over to the cross trainer and did 10 minutes, same deal, like 1 minute, then go real hard on a harder. And then after that, we go to the exercise bike, and it was the same deal. But by the time I got to the exercise bike, I was so knackered. I just sort of coasted. Yeah, I just coasted. I was like,
out of gas, hit the wall.
Yeah, and then on the cardio days, we do our abs cardio days. So yeah, it's just sort of because they're the 2 weakest points for me. I do work on my stomach, but it's definitely not. They are boring exercise, so yeah, they don't get the same focus as the other ones. But now we're sort of changing that up a bit, because it's sort of like, well, we don't want to look fat, so tone up the stomach.
Okay, well, what do you get out of cardio?
Just sort of aiming for being able to run 3 to 5Ks. Most sports, it's about 2 miles to maybe 3 miles. I think 2 to 3 miles would be. So, which doesn't really sound like that much, but trust me, when you haven't done cardio for a long time, it's like, oh yeah, it is pretty far.
So, I mean, are you going to give up drinking, smoking?
Yeah, I've quit smoking. Yeah, I don't. I like drinking every now and then with friends and that. So I don't think I'll give up drinking.
That'll help your cardio.
I don't think that. Yeah, that would. Yeah, it would. Yeah. Cardio is just one of those things. Like, see, this is the thing. When you're young, you can do it. And there's not a problem. I can remember when I was in like grade 8, I basically, we had the beep test at school and we did it. And I think we were just sort of mucking around and we got up to like 13, 14 and that type of thing. Like, it wasn't that hard. But then when you're older and you do it, and it's like, oh, Jesus, this is really hard. Like, yeah, this is going to slaughter me. There's not much I can do about it.
Are you going up in weight or down?
Oh, because of cardio?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't decreased in weightlifting, so no, cardio won't. I don't think that it will cut me. Yeah, I know, but you gotta be able to have cardio. I mean, cardio is the thing that you use pretty much every day. So yeah, I personally I wouldn't not do cardio. I'd definitely say you'd want to do it. I mean, me personally, I mean, you look at the professional athletes like the Olympics and your, like, say, even NFL and that type of thing, like basketball, they'd all do cardio. They're big guys. Yeah, I mean, they have to do cardio to stay in shape for their sport. So, and they're not small or anything. They look pretty buff. So, I mean, to me, I don't see why you'd want to not have cardio. It seems silly.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of bodybuilders that don't do cardio.
Yeah, no, I just think like, but what about your day-to-day living? Like, you know, what if you have to go walk somewhere or do something? You kind of need to exercise. Or, you know, you play with the kids or something like, oh, let's go down to the baseball nets and hit the baseball around or something like that. You're going to need your cardio for something.
Do you ever get bored of the gym and want to do something else?
Yeah, I like sport, so I want to actually do a bit more sport type activities. So, you know, just sort of waiting because they're revamping the gym, and soon the basketball courts and that type of thing will all be. Yeah, so that I was talking to my mate and I was like, yeah, let's get a basketball and just play some one-on-one or something. Just do something that's kind of fun, like they're getting their boxing
competitive
thing. Yeah, I don't know about yourself, but I like sports, so I've always sort of tried to gear my body around the idea that I can do sport, that type of thing. Like, I don't want to be specifically just for lifting weights. I actually like doing stuff. So, yeah.
All right.
Have you seen the new Terminator movie?
No, tell me about it.
Oh, it's really good, man. A lot of people complained about what is it? They said, oh, that the plot doesn't match up with the old Terminators. That, you know, basically it ruins the old Terminators because there's plot holes there and they don't really tie anything in together. It doesn't make sense. Blah 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 blah. But to me, when I watched it, I didn't get that impression at all. I thought they tied it all in all perfectly fine. It all suited well with me, and I grew up with the Terminators. So you wanted, you know, it's sort of like growing up with Star Wars to me. I grew up with Terminator. Like,
right.
Maybe that's why I've got a distrust for machines. I don't know.
Hilarious. So
well, I just don't want
it again, or
you know, it may be because of Terminator that was the case, because I've always had this fear of robots taking over the world. And because I can actually see that in my mind. I could see like the internet becoming self-aware and viewing us humans as a mistake and taking us out. I could see that. I could totally see that in my mind being a realistic option. Like, because we are pretty crappy to this world. So it's sort of like, yeah, I could definitely see a synthetic organism going, yeah, you're shit. We're going to get rid of you.
Sure. Well, I'll tell you what, Stephen, let me go ahead and just cap the hangout here. And thank all the viewers for listening. And I hope you have a good week. Take care.